So this is yeah, coming from a channel called Hook Global. This is just published 1 day ago, and it has 1 million views already. And as I said, it is a reaction to what is going on the other side of the world over in Denmark. All right, we should be in React mode on TikTok as well. All right, here we go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from the press. Minister Vivian Motzfeldt and I met with Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio today. We came
So this is Denmark talking to the US, okay? Vance and Rubio.
Here following a number of, how should I put it, remarkable public comments on Greenland and Arctic security.
Yeah.
Our aim was to find a joint way forward to increase Arctic security. What can the Kingdom of Denmark do more? What can US do more? What can NATO do more? The Kingdom of Denmark has already stepped up our own contribution by committing additional funds for military capabilities, not dock slates, but ships, drones, fighter jets, etc. And we are definitely ready to do more.
Wow.
The US has already a wide military access to Greenland. Under the 1951 Defense Agreement, the US can always ask for increasing its presence in Greenland. And therefore we wish to hear if the US had any further requests to make in this aspect. We would examine any such request constructively. Greenland is, through the Kingdom of Denmark, a member of NATO and has been that since the very founding of NATO in 1949 and is therefore also covered by Article 5. We have been pushing for quite a while in NATO for a stronger collective role in Greenland together with a number of allies, and we are eager to work with the US on advancing this agenda, and we are prepared to go further. Therefore, our aim was to find a common understanding on all these points and to launch, if possible, further in-depth work to deliver on them. On this basis, we had what I will describe as a frank but also constructive discussion. The discussions focused on how to ensure the long-term security in Greenland. And here our perspectives continue to differ, I must say. The President has made his view clear, and we have a different position.
Wow.
We, the Kingdom of Denmark, continue to believe that also the long-term security of Greenland can be ensured inside the current framework, the 1951 Agreement on the Defense of Greenland, as well as the NATO Treaty. For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable. And we therefore still have a fundamental disagreement.
Anyone else kind of like, this is not like good. The words that are being used are not good. It's very clear that there's a pretty big gap here. And I hope nothing escalates. I don't think anyone wants this to escalate.
But we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk. We have decided to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. The group, in our view, should focus on how to address them.
I mean, they have to find a way forward. Like, I don't like the word "if" there. Come on. Like, what is the alternative? What's the alternative?
American security concerns, while at the same time respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. We expect that such a group will meet for a first time within a matter of weeks. And then I will pass the floor to my colleague from Greenland, Vivian Motzfeldt.
Thank you so much. Not repeating what already been said here, so I would like to say something in my own language, because there are many people in Greenland that follows, and for that I hope that you will allow me. So, aseseka nunakatika naringiraartamas marinnaasusi ulloq uatsinnut pissanganarsimavoq oqaatigira
This is not translated. I wish
ali ullumik ataatimiineq ingerlalluarsimammat aamalu inimi ataatimiifigisatsinni атаққиқатигиинеқ ааллаавигалугу оқалеқатигиинери ингерланнеқарсимаммата массаккуллу сиуму саммисимик оқалеқатигиинерит ингерлаққиннissaанут аққутиник уярлеқатигииниссатсиннут исимақатигиисималлута. I think that our meeting today and our commitment to find the right path is something that gives us to be able to see forward. And by saying that, I also committed on what Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen already said. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And then I think we can take a few questions. Tom from BBC. Yes.
Thank you very much, Congress. Just first of all, you talked about the working group. Can you just give us a sense of what this means now? So what has actually been agreed you're going to do next, despite this, as you described it, fundamental disagreement? And you mentioned the dog slates. In terms of what you've announced in terms of beefing up security in the Arctic around Greenland, when you hear that kind of language from President Trump about amounting to no more than 2 dog slates, how does that make you feel?
Well, that's actually quite a few questions at the same time. Well, I have known the president for quite a while, also in my former capacity as prime minister in Denmark, and I know his approach. But I must say, and even though he addressed things quite differently from what I would have done myself, there's also always a bit of truth in what he's saying, not about the dog slates. Well, we also have dog slates to our special forces. That's the way to, otherwise you couldn't come around in the northern part of Greenland. But I must say that, of course, we share, to some extent, his concerns. There is definitely a new security situation in the Arctic and the high north. All of us, transatlantic, took the peace dividend years ago. And we have the vision of keeping Arctic as a low-tension region. That's probably also why U.S. themselves have decided to have a much softer footprint in Greenland. During the Cold War, at some stage, they had 17 different military installations and military bases. Now they only have 1. They had like 10,000 personnel in Greenland.
they went from 17 military bases. That's insane.
And now they have around 200. That's not our decision. That's a U.S. decision. And now the situation is entirely different. And of course, we have to respond to this. The big difference is whether that must lead to a situation where U.S. acquire Greenland, and that is absolutely not necessary. I mean, we have the long-lasting diplomatic relation, the longest-lasting diplomatic relation with U.S. that any U.S. ally has, 225 years in a row. And we have a perfect framework which could be used. And therefore, to answer your question, even though we wasn't so successful that we
It's just very.
that we
Him taking his time to answer is, I don't know, it's a grave concern. Just, I think you can see like the fear of people taking things the wrong way and escalating things that he doesn't want to escalate. And him taking his time with his words is not him like stuttering. It's definitely him trying to be a peacemaker, I think, at the end of the day. This is definitely a problem you want to solve with words far more than anything else.
We reached, a conclusion where our American colleagues said, "Oh, sorry, it was totally misunderstanding. We give up on our ambitions." There's clearly a disagreement. We agreed that it makes sense to try to sit down on a high level to explore whether there is possibilities to accommodate the concerns of the president.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to rationalize everything that's happened, and like there's a little bit of going off script to this that's important, but he seems very intelligent. I don't know. I want to really take what he's saying to heart because I think he's putting a lot into his words.
While we at the same time respect the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. So this is the work we will start. Whether that is doable, I don't know. I hope, and I would like to express that it could take, down the temperature. We have now had like 13 months with this ongoing discussions in social media.
I think like 13 months, the first time I think ever we hear of like Trump or anyone saying anything about Greenland. In Canada, right? Canada was on the table. It's always kind of been a little bit humorous. I think not until very recently when, I mean, frankly, when left-wing media picks up him saying military action if necessary, then that does kind of bring the temperature up, right? I mean, he's the president, so like, I mean, frankly, you don't hear Trump rationalizing through careful speech a whole lot, right? It's interesting to see like I mean, but yeah, you can only have so many people who don't rationalize in one room, especially if they're representing different people with different interests and different concerns, or else things do get raised, as you say. Yeah, or the media will spin it whatever they want. Yeah, BH Viewer, absolutely, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, it's just crazy because this guy has a script and he's sitting next to like this is the prime minister. Like this is it's about as careful and calculated as you should ever be in this role, right? It's this is intense.
And this is actually the very first time where we could sit down at a top political level to discuss it. And it was a great opportunity also for Vivian and I to go up against the narrative because it is not a true narrative that we have, Chinese warships all around the place. According to our intelligence, we haven't had a Chinese warship in Greenland for a decade or so.
Wow.
So from that perspective, it was a very constructive meeting. As I said, frank discussion among equal partners, and now at least we have to give it a try. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think it's very important to say it again that how important it is from our side to strengthen our cooperation with the United States, but that doesn't mean that we want to be owned by United States, but as allies, how we can strengthen our cooperation, it's all our interest.
Yes. Kim?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, I would like to ask this question in Danish, but let me do it in English here
Yes.
because of our colleagues here.
Thank you. I mean, it's incredible. This is like so recent. I don't think they even have subtitles on what she said, but I mean, anyone speak Danish in chat? Have any idea what she said earlier? I feel like she's obviously trying to keep people calm and, just address the situation directly.
Do you see any compromise ahead of you? You said a little, but could you elaborate a little on the possible compromise that there would be between the president's wish to acquire Greenland or have control?
Yeah, it's probably pretty quiet for you guys, but he's asking if do you see like any basically a path towards basically some sort of agreement. His exact word like basically a settlement, right? Is that even something that they see that's on the table?
Greenland and the red lines that the Kingdom of Denmark has done right now. And if you also can tell us just a little bit about the approach that the Americans had to this meeting, what was their primary goal?
Yeah, you're concerned that she's not saying what's on her mind because he's like a filtered spokesperson, and what she's thinking is what probably most people are thinking in her country. So we get like this globalist, like, seemingly nonpartisan, like, the most neutral speaker possible. This guy's doing everything he can to not like literally cause the water to start little bubbles that start boiling to the top, and heat just goes boop, 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 boop. It's more like a snowball at this point. So yeah, I think it's a good point. Very good point. Be it sure.
Goal, as you see it, was that to reach that end goal?
Yo, Daniel, welcome in.
Or was it an open discussion of how do we solve the security situation in the Arctic?
Well, first of all, I don't think this is the proper place to elaborate on what could be a compromise.
This is like the body language. She actually just changed her body language right as I went to pause. But her like really concerned, like crossed arms. Did you see that? Like she swaps this position back here with like the kind of the winced face look. He's got crossed hands. Like we all know that's kind of the more like defensive, authoritative position. It's, to me, that's concerning. I'm not a body language expert, but there's a lot of reservation happening here. That's for sure. This is not BDO. Yeah, we mix in reacts here, Maddie. We do a little bit of reacts. We grind. We're technically grinding while we do reacts, but I just mix in, you know, tech and current events pretty much. It's most of what we talk about. Current events do get a little bit in the politics side, but just staying informed, talking about what's going on. But yeah, we're grinding, you know, getting XP. The goals are happening. We're actually super buffed. But yeah, just trying to stay on top of, you know, things in the world. What is going on? But I stay in the BDO category for drops and stuff. We usually like dip right back into BDO. So anyway, just for context.
A necessity if we want to have a proper debate. It was basically about security. I mean, and as I said, even though there's not an instant threat from China and Russia, at least not a threat we can't accommodate. For instance, Chinese investments, we have avoided that due to close cooperation between Greenland and Denmark. When you saw, like 10 years ago, the Belt and Road Initiative and an idea of Chinese investments in infrastructure.
I almost want to look this one up, but you guys know what the Belt and Road Initiative is? It might be worth a Google.
Infrastructure in Greenland, we avoided that. So there's no, you know, Chinese presence in Greenland. But there's a concern. Will that be the case in like a 10 or 20 years from now? It will not, because our Greenlandic friends have introduced investment screening schemes, etc. And Denmark, you know, is by all means on the right side of history. And therefore we will also continue to do what we already have done.
Saying any country's on the right side of history is crazy. Just because of all like the war and stuff that goes into like whoever currently occupies it. Like land has so much history, and being on the right side of history is so relative. We were just talking about like what was it, like Thulians that like are basically extinct? Like, would they agree that we're on the right side of history in Greenland? It's just always things that have to be taken in context. Those statements are a little bit more washed up, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
We have been.
Jeez. He like goes into it with like this negative perspective, like, no surprise, I guess. Yeah, right side of history is the ones that won. After Greenland, it's us, so it better not happen. Oh, I missed Satitha's comment here. Trump wants Greenland to understand the Mercator projection. I don't know what that is. But I would generally agree, the people who win. Someone said the phrase "might is right." It's just insane. That was obviously like in jest, but yeah, there's definitely some fear involved.
Didn't manage. Should we take a very final question and then yeah, come on. There's a fight going on now about okay, yes.
I would also like to, of course, ask a question in Danish.
We can do that afterwards. Yeah.
For both of you. So you say you have had a constructive meeting. You said in Greenlandic, I could hear the translation, it was a good meeting. But how do you feel about going out of that room without the threat being off the table? So we still have the American administration that wants to have Greenland being part of the United States. And you say, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, that, well, we hope that we can find a way. But how do you actually feel? It can't be very sort of securing, isn't it?
Vivian?
Here we go.
I think that it's never been so important to initiate that we are allies, we are friends, we have been cooperated in many years, we have history together, so it's all our interest to find the right balances. So I don't think I can say it longer than that. Of course, we have work to do in the future. And for us, the most important is that you find the.
Just look at his face, man. Like, that is a man who's thinking about the future of the world. I mean, this is an old man. Like, he knows this issue is going to evolve so far beyond himself. It's insane. Like, guys, imagine, I don't know if anyone in chat's that old. I'm not. But this guy's really concerned. He's really concerned. He's thinking deep about her words, how they impact people. He's really thinking about the room and what was said in that room. This is just it's a mouthful, man. Like, I wish you could pour out a couple thoughts, just a few thoughts. I'm sure he's got some wisdom in there for sure.
Normalize relationship we used to have, and it's very important. And I think that we have initiated so many times where we stand and our geopolitical and location and everything that is very important, and we do it as an ally, and we do it. Of course, it's also our interest that Greenland's positions and how we do.
Yeah, I see your comment. I guess, like, at the end of the day, it's how much of a bully can one country become? It's challenging situation. You're also thinking that politicians should be forced to retire at 65? Did I feel like some politicians, it's way more true than others. It looks like they're outside. Oh, they definitely are outside. There's a sidewalk at the bottom left. I don't know. Is that not visible? But yeah, this definitely looks outside. There's a shrub behind them. And that doesn't look to be an indoor shrub. Yeah, there's a reflection of a tree on the windowsill too. You can see. That is quite a hot topic for sure. I shall see my way out. Sounds good. Like, we try to not dip into politics as much as current events. I think there's a difference, but that's my 2 cents.
Do it that you do it on behalf of the allies, and yes.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, that will be the final question.
Could I just ask you?
That would be the final question.
Mark Stone from Sky News. Can I just ask you both about the emotion of this moment? What did the administration, what did Trump's team say to you when you presumably told them that you can't just take over a people, you can't just take over and acquire a nation? Was there any discussion about, did they appreciate that perspective, or for them is this simply about security?
I think that what we have been saying that, and we have.
Buying Greenland would be lit. I mean, if we could just buy it with a check and everyone would be happy, wouldn't that be something?
It's all according to the security in northern hemisphere. So
That's true.
I don't want to say more than what we discussed in the closed meeting room, but I would like to have this. How do you say it in English? Hope for a more mutual
Optimism.
understanding and trying to find the right balances is equally from all countries.
Did the Americans offer you money?
It is, of course, very emotional
money. Money's a good question.
for all of us, and of course, particularly for people living up in Greenland, but also for people in Denmark. We have 17,000 Greenlandic people living in Denmark. It sums up to like 1/3 of the Greenlandic population. We have a lot of Danes living in Greenland, more than 1 out of 10, which just emphasize that Denmark and Greenland are, integrated, and it has been that for centuries. And we look at ourselves as U.S. closest allies. I've had this discussion with the president previously. In Afghanistan, we had exactly as many casualties as U.S. And I know very well that,
Chaz, are you basically saying, like, let Greenland citizens basically profit from the dollar amount of like what it would take for them to be like, I don't even, it sounds like a buyout, but like for a country, not a company type of thing. It's wild. X amount on dollars per person. Anyway, yeah, I don't, it's like one of those things that it's not my business, it's not my issue. It kind of becomes our issue when we're citizens of a country that is making the offer here, or whatever claims. Obviously, I'm not ever trying to overstep any sort of authority I have when I comment on stuff. I'm just representing the guy who doesn't know a lot, right? Straight buyout would be crazy. And also, yeah, I saw your comments. You're actually a Marine before. That's awesome. People do have every right to tread water. Yeah, well said. Well said. I think it's a skill to be able to choose the conversations you're part of, that you're not part of, and even how you approach things that you're kind of pushed into, right? But yeah, thanks for your service, dude. That's crazy. Afghanistan, it's crazy.
The future is not necessarily about the past, but I think it is important also to have the past in mind. And we are eager to fulfill our promises. And even though our view on the situation right now around Greenland differs from public statements in the US, we share the concerns in a long-time perspective. And we want to work closely with the US, but it must, of course, be a respectful kind of cooperation.
Just click their website. Anyway, that's yeah, a media company called Hook Global, guys. That's interesting though. So yeah, talks going on with the United States. Maybe nothing super conclusive yet, but hopefully some good stuff down the road.